Every diver knows safety is important and advocates for being safe. But how many divers feel they know how to handle these emergencies like the back of their hand? In my book, it's not if an emergency will happen, but when. As a diver who always tries to improve and has learned from many divers from all over the world, I want you to be a safe diver and be prepared for when something goes wrong on your dives. In this video, we'll be going over key skills that you can practice to prepare for the real emergencies. Learning and practicing these skills will make you feel prepared, calm, and confident. So when the real thing does happen, you walk away and feel that it is not abnormal, but another day of diving. Our first stop is the most deadly and stigmatized safety issue. The common advice from the industry is to never run out of air. I've even had comments on some of my videos from some of you out there that running out of air is the equivalent of natural selection. This is absolutely not my philosophy, and I want to change the mindset that running out of air should be stigmatized. It is entirely okay and an expected circumstance. I don't know who all you've been diving with, but I've seen a number of people run out of air on my dives. And it should be perfectly normal. Why? Because we, as divers, are prepared and running out of air should feel normal. Now, I'm not saying huff and puff your air down as fast as you can on your next dive. What I am saying is that mistakes can happen and it's okay. It's a learning experience. And more importantly, you can do everything right and still have an out of air emergency from a gear failure. We prepare for these situations, and I want you to prepare by practicing with your dive group or buddies often. Let them know before the dive that at the end of the dive, ideally at a safety stop, that you'd like to practice an air drill with a buddy. Likewise, you can do this at the start of the dive. If your buddy is up for it, you can even do it randomly on the dive. Just avoid surprises to your buddy or group. Make agreements that you're going to do an air emergency drill. The drill starts by one diver getting the other buddy's attention and giving them the out of air signal that looks like you're slicing your own throat. The other diver should smoothly and hastily provide a second stage regulator straight to the out of air diver promptly. I recommend always donating the one right out of your mouth. In a real emergency, likely someone will try to rip it out of your mouth. So practicing taking your one from your mouth is generally a smoother transition in most cases. Take a good breath, not deeply, but calmly, and then donate your second stage from your mouth to the diver out of air. Then switch to your backup octopus, but purge it before putting in your mouth. Some of you will notice that I run with a long hose setup, which provides a lot of benefits in this out of air scenario. One of which is that your backup octo is right on your neck as a necklace, so it is very easy to grab in a pinch. You can still do this with a non-long hose setup, so it's something to consider. Another benefit is that the long hose allows the out of air diver to have a lot of length on the hose to still be able to maneuver freely. With this configuration, you can still practice the drill and swim around to get a hang of maneuvering together. With a standard setup, meaning a non-long hose configuration, it's more difficult to move around. So instead, you'll grab each other's BCDs and keep each other stable and locked at the same buoyancy. If you practice the drill and you're not ready to end the dive yet, you can use the cut signal, which looks like scissors cutting. You can also switch this scenario and let the other person practice. Before making the switch though, the out of air diver will find their main regulator, wherever it is, and switch. There's no time limit for this, and give the regulator back to the other diver where they're gonna switch from their octo back to their main regulator. The tricky part of this drill, and one worth doing every now and then, is ending the dive and emerging together. It's tricky because two people need to compensate for each other's buoyancy. One thing that will help with this is to look each other in the eyes and face each other level as you go up, trying to make sure that you're always lockstep in buoyancy. Further, it's worth noting some divers, such as tech divers, use what is called an S drill, which I believe stands for a safety drill, but I couldn't really verify that. And usually this is done at the start of a dive. This is where divers run through a series of safety drills, one of which being the out of air drill. These are standard affairs and keep everyone on their game at the start of every dive. It's a good practice. This of course is a very brief overview of the drill, and I hope it's something to get you started. I do plan to make a more detailed video on this in the future, so subscribe and stay tuned. Another important skill often overlooked by many divers and is not regularly taught is deploying your delayed surface marker buoy, aka the safety sausage, aka the DSMB. This one can be tough when you start practicing, as it requires you to have strong control and neutral buoyancy to avoid the safety sausage becoming the terror sausage and pulling you to the surface. Deploying a DSMB is a necessary skill if you ever get caught by current and are being pulled away unexpectedly. In addition, surfacing in areas with boats or other people, the DSMB warns others of your presence and to avoid that area, and more importantly, you if you're about to surface. I regularly deploy a DSMB even on shore dives to ensure I don't spook others on my way to the beach. I failed to do this earlier on, and I spooked a bunch of kids jumping off a dock on my return to the beach once. And now I think it's fair to always deploy it just for safety. It just causes less alarm when you're coming out of water. With this one, I recommend letting your group know that you'll practice at the end of the dive ahead of time. Then, at your safety stop, go ahead and commence the drill. No signing is needed for this one, as your group would probably be expecting you to do so if you communicated beforehand. You can always get people's attention. You look at me, I will deploy a DSMB. You can also just do I DSMB deploy. Then start your deployment. Now for this video, I'm going to breeze through this as I really think learning this is going to take a dedicated video. Also, before commencing the drill, I do want to warn you that if others are practicing the drill with you, give them some space. Make sure you look at them and where their line will go. Further, inspect the surface before you put air into your DSMB so that you don't launch your DSMB right into a boat propeller or crossing a line with another DSMB, which is just going to be a entanglement hazard, and it's just going to cause a nightmare for... I've seen some really ugly things happen with DSMB lines getting mixed up. I don't want that to happen to you. Also, one tip is that since you're at depth, remember that the air will decompress as it goes to the surface, so you don't need to fill your sausage fully. And at 6 meters or 20 feet, about a touch more than half is enough. And the deeper you are, you need even less. After you add air, make sure the reel spins freely and away from all of your gear so it doesn't potentially get caught in anything. It can act like a buzzsaw and cut your skin, so it's important to keep it away and clear of your face as well, and your fingers. In the worst case, if it gets out of your control, you can always just let it go, let it drop down, and grab the reel once it floats past you. It's not that big of a deal. Once deployed, the lines of your DSMB must be kept tight so they don't become entanglement hazard for you or anyone else. Once the DSMB is deployed, you can use it to hold your buoyancy at a set depth and relax for the rest of your stop. Then reel yourself up slowly to the top. You should always keep the line tight so that the marker is visible at the surface. Otherwise, if it's too loose, you'll see your DSMB flop around at the surface, not getting much visibility at all. So keep it tight and you'll see it stand erect, proud, and other boats can see it from a good distance. This is especially important if there's any surf with waves kind of going like this. If it's not erect, the top of it or any part of it may not be visible. Once you arrive at the top, you can assess the situation. Is the boat that you're trying to signal there? Then you can go ahead and start putting it away. If you still need it for visibility, then you can still keep it tight and hold it and swim on the surface for better visibility. Of course, with its height will make you more visible as you're swimming on the surface. So keep it out if you're on the surface. If you're about to get in a boat, feel free to put it away. Practice this a lot. Start in calm, shallow water and go through each step. Then try in tougher conditions with some current and deeper water. The more you practice, the easier it'll be when you really need it. Ideally, when you deploy it perfectly, you maintain your depth, good neutral trim, and don't lose that reel. My next advice, and safety advice that probably no one's ever told you, is going to break some comfort zones. But it's an important comfort zone to break, a little bit. So inevitably, you will feel calm when it really happens in a real situation. This, like other skills, should be practiced in calm conditions first. In a pool or a mellow lake, you can work up from there. I want you to get a good sense of diving without a mask or if it's ripped away. We'll do this through practice drills, of course, and by the end of these drills, I want you to feel, I won't say comfortable, but calm without a mask. Honestly, not being able to see anything is going to be a little nerve-wracking. First things first, as mentioned with other drills, inform your buddy and group of the drill. Then, when you're ready to do the drill, you can do it at any time, but do it only if the conditions are not dangerous for you, and ideally at the start or the end of the dive after you do a safety stop. The first step of the drill is to just flood your mask. You can even do this a little bit to prepare you. Lift the bottom of your mask and let the thing flood a little bit. Then clear it out. It's a good first step to practice. Then try fully flooding your mask and then clear it out. There you go. Get comfortable with the flooding feeling. Then, if you're ready to proceed, have a buddy watching you just in case you drop your mask, and proceed to take off the entire mask. From here, you can proceed to put it back on and purge it out. But if you're comfortable this far, try to hold your buoyancy and see how long you can hold it. Have a buddy next to you and tap the top of your arm if you're going up and the bottom if you're going down. This will truly put your buoyancy skills to the test. See how long you can go. Find your new best time. And if you get really good, you can even do this during the duration of your safety stop. See if you can do it the whole safety stop. That's after you get good at it, okay? You can even try to move around some while holding buoyancy in a mask-off swim. Your buddy should give you the same tapping above and below your arm to give you guidance if you're going up or down. Once the drill is over, put the mask back on and clear it out. Some divers even keep a backup mask in their pocket, which you can go ahead and switch to and put on instead. This will build on top of your skills and comfort level, so I want you to take baby steps here. If you're doing this at a safety stop, I'd recommend doing it at the end of the safety stop and away from the reef or fragile environment, just in case you're bumping around or you pop to the top. And one very important thing I want you to really keep in mind here is to always stay breathing. Do not hold your breath because you're trying to hold your buoyancy. That's not sustainable, and if you pop to the top, you're going to have a lung overexpansion. Always be breathing. If something is off or you're not feeling quite right, abort the drill and put your mask back on. Purge it out. This is going to round out your buoyancy skills and take your comfort and confidence up in the water a whole few notches. More importantly, when that mask gets ripped off, you'll feel quite at home. Not comfortable, but you'll be ready for it. Also, I just wanted to note too, I wouldn't advise trying to open your eyes underwater. You can, and I know some free divers who open their eyes. You will find you won't be able to see much and you're gonna get a lot of stinging. So much stinging that when you put your mask back on, it's gonna be quite painful. You can't rub your eyes. Free divers usually when you get to the surface, they can, wipe their eyes. You're down scuba diving, so you won't get a chance to wipe those eyes. So I don't really recommend opening your eyes. You can. You will find that without the mask, you will have very blurry vision. I know some people practice it and become pretty decent at it. And if that's you, that's great. You're even more prepared for mask off drills, but I don't think it's a requirement. Next up is preparing for the worst case scenario where something happens and you find yourself hurtling towards the surface. A certainly nerve-wracking fear, and one that would rival the danger of going out of air because of the intense danger of decompression sickness. It's all in a day of diving though, and we will be prepared. There can be a number of reasons for this to happen, each with various scenarios you have to at least have in mind to be prepared for, some of which could be an upswell of current, a BCD inflation failure, or your weight suddenly dropping. While fear often comes from what we can't see, sometimes the real danger is in what we can't control. This one is going to require you to be in good neutral trim, in what I also call the skydiver's air brake. It helps slow your movement up and down the water column, and it is an optimal position for diving regardless. If you do find yourself suddenly ascending towards the surface, you need to first debug the situation. Did you hear air suddenly fill your BCD unexpectedly? From a neutral position, reach down with your left hand and check the air sac of the BCD. If it's overly full, reach for the dump valve and lean forward and pull it to release the air. If you hear air still entering the BCD, keep continuing to dump the air with your left hand and use your right hand to grab the inflation hose. Often, a button could be stuck and pressing on it could unstick it. Fiddle with it and try to get it to stop dispensing. If that doesn't work, use that one hand and pull the inflation hose out to stop the air from filling your BCD. And this is something you can practice. Try to go ahead and undo your inflation hose one-handed to kind of get that motion down and get a feeling for it. When there's pressure in your inflation hose, it's not super easy. So practicing this could help in a real scenario. But I do recommend doing this out of the water. I don't think this in particular needs to be practiced in waters, and it's just easier. You don't need to worry about getting salt water in your inflation hose connector. So you'd only undo the thing in a real emergency, such as the one I described. From this point, in a real scenario, you should board to dive, using the air you have in your BCD to maintain your buoyancy. If you have a balanced rig and proper weighting, you should need little help merging even with an empty BCD. For this particular scenario, I don't have a great drill for you to practice, aside from the inflation hose disconnection. But one thing I do want you to get comfortable with is finding the upper and lower dump valves. Use your right hand for the upper and your left hand for the lower. Through your dives, grab them randomly and get a feel for exactly where they are. So in a pinch, you're not wasting time looking for them. You should be able to grab them at any time and know how to dump them fairly quickly. Also, get comfortable reaching for that inflator hose with both hands. If it's not an inflation hose issue, it could be your weights are lost. Unless you're absurdly overweighted, this scenario should be much less acceleration than the prior one, allowing you to dump the air from your BCD and perhaps swim downwards to stabilize your depth. In such a circumstance, you should abort to dive immediately and ascend slowly to the top. Continue to kick down to control your ascent. If you have a buddy that has extra weight, take it to balance out. And of course, do your safety or decompression stops as you would normally. And lastly, for an upswell, often these are from features in the terrain that are currently hitting a rock or being pushed upwards. It also could be from a surge if near the surface as well. In all cases, move around away from your current position. Often these currents are not large but narrow rivers. Once you move out of the stream or away from the surface, you will find things back to normal. Every up current I've experienced, aside from some extreme cases like a laundry machine current in Indonesia, moving a bit away from the area moved me out of the upswell. Don't try to swim against the current though, as this will only tire you out. If you have to, swim diagonally to stabilize your depth and move out of it slowly. Now that you're prepared for uncontrolled ascents, I want to give you one last piece of safety advice no one ever told you. Being lost is going to happen, and is perfectly okay, because we will be ready for it. Whether it's due to the current sweeping you away from the dive site, a careful photo that you had to take that took too long, or a visibility turning to utter crap, it can happen fast. For this one, There isn't a drill you need to practice, but it's good to communicate with your dive team, especially if you don't know them well, to make sure everyone is on the same page of the procedure. Of course, you can try to do a Marco Polo drill with your team if everyone agrees to it and pretend to be a lost diver at the end of the dive, but it's not something I normally have practiced or do a drill for. Honestly, it happens enough on the diving. You should get plenty of experience if you're diving enough. And of course, this has happened to me before. Diving with another fellow diver I recently met, and we were out practicing skills on the lake. While practicing this skill, I looked back and my buddy was gone. I needed to find him, but I failed to follow proper procedure and ended up swimming the wrong way. He got tangled in his DSMB line and could have used the help if I could find him. Ultimately, we found each other on the surface and everything was okay. But it was a real wake-up call for me and really knowing and communicating this procedure better. I hope this helps you too, as a stark reminder. If he really was in danger, I wouldn't have been there. When a group of divers realize that they have lost a diver, they must all stick together and start the search by returning to the area of the last sighting. Have your torch out and shine it in every direction. Everyone must stay together to prevent more lost divers. Listen for sounds and look up for bubbles. As a lost diver, your goal is to find the group, but the key is don't move away from your position. Stay where you are. Shine your torch, look for bubbles, and consider banging your tank to make sound. Both parties should search for roughly a minute before boarding the dive. At this point, hope is not lost. If during the boarding process the parties find each other, you can still get back down to the dive site. While boarding, you should deploy your DSMB immediately to let others on the surface know your location. Then, proceed with any stops you need to make and safely ascend in a calm and controlled manner. Meet at the top in the worst case. You can re-dive if everyone is willing and has enough air. The important thing here is that nobody is panicking. Everything is normal and everyone followed the procedure to the best of their ability. Perhaps there are some lessons to be learned to prevent the team separation from the person who got lost. But beyond that, the lost diver drill will keep things from getting out of hand. In most cases, when I've had divers separated, we were able to find each other after a short search. Remember, use your torches. The lost diver can also make some sounds. These go a long way to finding each other. Now, you've mastered the 5 critical safety drills, but your diving journey is far from over. These skills are your lifeline underwater. Use them on every dive. You can make your own form of safety drills or use pre-existing S drills with your buddy to help normalize these skills. You'll not only improve other skills of yours, you will build calmness and reactive instincts so when the real emergencies do happen, you're more prepared. If you practice well, you won't even be able to tell the difference between emergencies and drills. That's real safety. If you've enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. And if you want to see more, I have a perfect video for you to watch next in this series that is dedicated to teaching more intermediate scuba diving skills, such as the one taught in this video. Check it out here. And until next time.